everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of Girl Listen, the mini podcast. It's your girl KJ, and thank you so much for being here with me today and giving your girl a listen. I really appreciate you. So, if you can't tell by the title of this episode, we are in for a good one today, okay? The old me had to die. Yeah, she had to go. Had to get rid of homegirl. And I say that because as I turned 30, and even in my later 20s, I found myself thinking a lot about my past and just the things that I thought I was going to do, who I thought I was going to be, and how I did not do or become any of those things. And for a while, I was really disappointed and embarrassed and just frustrated. Felt like I failed myself a lot. But as I was coming into this new era of my womanhood, I really took a lot of time to reflect and to really listen to myself and to look back at all the things that I wanted to do and all the things that I thought I was going to be. And instead of pushing them to the side, I really allowed myself to feel, the sadness about the dreams that didn't come true, or the disappointment about the plans that didn't go the way I thought they were going to go, or the embarrassment about not becoming what I thought I would become. I allowed myself the space to feel those things freely. I allowed myself to feel them. And once I did that, I was able to find the small bits and pieces of who I actually became in all of those moments. So while they weren't my best moments, maybe I'm not the most proud, I am proud of who I became through those moments. And so I felt like, why not start Girl Listen with this topic? And then the other night I saw a tweet, and I can't remember the poster's name, but it said something along the lines of, the old me had to die. I had to let go of the thoughts of who I thought I was going to be, and really embrace who I am. And I said, yep, that's a sign. That's going to be episode 1. So here we go. The old me had to die. I say that in a sense of, ever since I was a kid, I always had very big dreams, and I've always been a planner. And so even from when I was super young, I don't remember how old I was. I can remember the first job I ever wanted, or the first career I ever wanted. I wanted to be a mortician. I don't tell a lot of people that, but it's on the internet now. So yes, I wanted to be a mortician when I was a kid. I have no clue why that's the case, but I did. And in that, I changed my mind very quickly. I had a really interesting experience at a funeral home one time with my great-grandmother. And let's just say I decided that the mortician world was not for me. So I then decided I was going to be a lawyer. I had it all planned out. I was going to go to Princeton. I was going to go to law school, and I was going to be a lawyer. I can't remember exactly what type of law I wanted to practice. I'm not even sure I knew that there were different types of law. I just knew I'm going to be a lawyer. Well, let's just say I didn't even apply to Princeton when it was time for me to go to college. But that dream also changed. When I got to high school, I thought I was going to be an orthopedic surgeon or an athletic trainer. I took some classes in high school at a hospital, realized very quickly that the doctor route was not going to be for me, just because in those rotations we had to shadow like different areas of the hospital. And I realized I don't think I want to do this. I like to help people after they're in pain. I don't want to be the person to cause people pain. And I definitely don't want to be the person that has to respond immediately to the pain, because it hurt my heart so bad just hearing people in pain and seeing people in pain. And I was like, I don't know if I'd be the best surgeon or the best doctor. I can't cry because you're crying in pain. So I said, let's think about something else. So then I decided I want to be an athletic trainer. And that is kind of what I stuck with. I applied to universities to exercise science programs because I felt like that would get me on a really good path to athletic training. Like that's it. That's what I was going to do, right? So then I got an internship with an indoor football league. And I don't know if you guys know much about indoor football. I don't. But what I do know is the feat that I had to see from those professional athletes scared me so bad. I said, you know what? I don't want to be an athletic trainer either. Unless they find a way that I can train athletes from the ankle up, It's not going to work for me. So again, here I am with another plan, but this time I am paying for my education and really close to being out in the real world, and I have no clue what I want to do with my life. So I ended up transferring schools. I picked a major that was pretty similar to what I was studying, so I didn't have to start all the way over. But I knew athletic training wasn't going to be the way to go. I did know that I had a passion for sports, though, and athletes. So I figured I'd find something that would allow me to work in that space. Now, when I realized athletic training wasn't going to work for me, that was really the moment where I felt my first bit of disappointment in myself. Like, girl, okay, you can let go of the mortician thing. You were a little kid. You probably didn't know any better. We can let go of being a lawyer. It's fine. You were a kid. Cool. But now you're not a kid anymore. So you need to figure out what you are going to do and how you're going to do it and how you're going to get there. And so I would find myself beating myself up, trying to figure out why these things didn't work out. Why did none of my plans happen? Why did none of my plans come true? And then after I graduated, and I was probably in my mid-20s at this point, 24, 25, I was visiting family at home, and I found a scrapbook that I made in high school. And at the back of it, there was a letter that it said to write to myself, like in the future. I can't remember what grade I did this in, but I drew a picture of myself and everything. And we had to write a letter to ourselves. And so in this letter, I was saying how I was going to be an Olympic champion, and I was going to have this beautiful home, and I was going to live right next door to my best friends, and just live happily ever after. And I was like, girl, you have always been a dreamer, haven't you? You dream big, you think big. But none of this happened. You're not an Olympian. You haven't been to the Olympics. You didn't buy a house. And honestly, with this economy, woo, with this economy, and you don't live next door to your best friend, but you do live close enough. So I guess that's at least a win. But like, what's going on, girl? Like, I didn't even remember that I wrote that, and then to see it again, I was like, wow, that's another dream, another thing that I didn't do, and kind of dropped me back into that cycle of beating myself up and being disappointed and thinking, if I would have worked harder on the track, if I would have worked harder in practice and out of practice, if I would have done so many different things, right? Maybe I could have made this one come true, but I dropped the ball myself on that one, you know? So again, I find myself in a place of thinking, okay, girl, you're not who you thought you were going to be. So who are you? Like, who is this? And because I was living in the shadows of my disappointments, I wasn't allowing myself to see that in everything that I felt like I didn't accomplish, I learned something and I grew and I got a puzzle piece to the woman that I was supposed to become. Not who I thought I was going to be, but who I was actually supposed to be. And for the longest time, honestly, probably the last 2 years of my 20s. So from the age of 28 until even now, even today, I really took the time out to stop and look at everything that I wanted to do in life and everything that I have planned out, even the things that I've planned as an adult and in my 20s and post undergrad. And I said, okay, so this didn't happen, right? Cool. But I had to sit with it. I had to allow myself to feel those feelings. And then I looked at it and said, okay, so why didn't this happen? But what did I learn from this? Like, how did I overcome the disappointment of not being in that space? And that's when I realized I had to allow myself to grieve. I had to grieve the things that I thought I was going to have, the person that I thought I was going to be. But I also had to grieve the person that I was. Because the girl who was sitting there just sad and disappointed in herself and embarrassed, that wasn't who I wanted to be. And I know that wasn't who the future me was going to be. And I know I didn't want to step into my 30s still holding on to that. So I just went through a process of really understanding and looking back and reflecting on my life's journey. And I realized that in everything I wanted to be, even down to the mortician, the lawyer, the surgeon, the athletic trainer, I found out that, okay, there's a common denominator here. I want to help people. I love to help people. That is what brings me joy. In all of the professions that I thought I was going to have, it was for me to help someone else. And then I thought about all the times that, yes, I didn't become these, but where are times that you did help people? And it wasn't until maybe my second or third year coaching track and field that I realized, wait a minute, you've been helping people this whole time. Because I saw my athletes grow and evolve and the joy in their faces. You know, I've had students come back and tell me how much they appreciated having me as a coach. And even outside of the students that I coach, just some of the students and people that I've worked with, just telling me, like, I really appreciate you being there for me. I appreciate you helping. And I realized in a lot of those moments, I was sharing a part of my story with someone because they were in a moment where they were feeling like they were failing and they were becoming disappointed in themselves. And although the outcomes will look different, I did let them know, hey, I've been through an experience like this. Or, hey, I have failed at things. There are things that I wanted to do that I'm not doing, but it's okay because I made it out on the other side. And this is how I did that. And you can either write down a plan and figure out a way that you think you can accomplish this goal. But you can also know that it's okay to pivot. It's okay to change. It's okay to do something different. And it's okay for things to not work out. And in the midst of telling that to other people, a light bulb went off. And it's like, hey, girl, why don't you listen to yourself? Why don't you understand that it's okay to pivot? It's okay for things to change. It's okay for things not to happen. You can still succeed. Like, look at you. You're still succeeding. You've made it through all of these things. And so I said, you know what? Yeah, I can do that. And so I like to call that stage of what I went through with who I am now. And I said coping with who I am now because it took me a minute to still, get over the initial sadness and disappointment. Well, I won't say initial, the lingering sadness and disappointments of everything that I thought I would accomplish. But then understanding that those things helped me get to where I am today and being grateful for those things. And so as I am coping with who I've become, it also allows me the space to appreciate and be excited about who I am and where I am today, and to really focus and hone in on that. I think I spent a lot of time just really so laser focused on the future and what that was supposed to look like and what I was supposed to have, that I forgot that I'm actually like living in this current moment. I'm not living in the future. I'm not living in these dreams. And I need to set goals if I want to achieve these things, but I can't just think, oh, I'm going to be a lawyer and then not put in the work to be a lawyer. Or, oh, I'm going to be an orthopedic surgeon, but realizing I don't like hospitals. So I had to become appreciative for where I am now because I'm doing what I love. I'm doing things that I love. I am really excited and just proud of where I am in life. And I appreciate it and I'm super grateful for it. And honestly, there aren't too many things that I would go back and change, except for the fact that I beat myself up so badly over things that I may have had some control over, but did not have complete control over. But also in the moments that I had control over my future, as far as being an Olympian, I really could have worked extremely hard, but I got in my own way and I didn't believe in myself. And so there's no need in beating myself up about that years and years and years later, because I have a different plan now. I have a different purpose now, and I have different goals now, and I need to be able to focus on those. I need to be able to set those. And I also need to be able to believe in myself enough to accomplish those goals. And that is something that in my grieving of the old me, I had to do it. I just had to do it. Like, you're not that girl anymore, and that's okay. This is who you are now. This is who you are now. And just understanding that and loving that and being so excited in it that it literally brings me joy. And now I can even talk about my failures. I can talk about my disappointments. I can talk about my embarrassments in a way that doesn't leave me still feeling all of those feelings and emotions. It doesn't allow me to feel hurt. I take pride in the fact that those are parts of my story. and they are pieces of the puzzle of this woman that I am now. And I'm excited to keep creating pieces and to keep finding pieces to this puzzle and to keep putting it together, because I do think the picture is beautiful. And a lot of the times people say, oh, well, look at the big picture, or look at the big picture. And in a lot of ways, I am a big picture type of person. Like, I can typically see something as a whole, and then I can break it down into smaller steps. But I think when it comes to just the trajectory of life in itself and navigating careers and all of that fun jazz, it's better to look at the pieces of the picture you have now. Like, if you only have that top left corner, well, look at the top left corner and then see what piece you can add there. If you only have the middle, well, look at the middle and see how you can build outward. But I was just putting too much pressure on myself to see the bigger picture. And every time it didn't end up looking how I wanted to look, I'm smashing the puzzle and I felt like I was starting over again. So I say all that to say, girl, when it comes down to this thing called life, you really just have to live it, to appreciate it, but to also understand that things are not always going to go the way that you think or the way that you plan, and that is perfectly fine. And what's even more okay than that is to allow yourself to feel whatever emotions come with that. If you're happy that something didn't work out, allow yourself to be happy. If you're upset that something didn't work out, allow yourself to be upset. If you are embarrassed that things didn't turn out the way you wanted them to, that's okay as well. Feel that feeling, but learn from it and grow from it and allow it to help you flourish in other areas, or allow it to give you the courage to try again, or allow it to give you the courage to ask for help, because we don't have to do everything on our own. And just allow yourself to be you. That's all we have for this episode of Girl Listen the Mini Podcast today. Again, thank you so much for being here with me. I truly appreciate you. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video. Rewatch it if you want to. Find us on Instagram at Girl Listen Mini Pod. And I will see you all next Sunday, 7 p.m.